What if the loudest battle you face is the one no one else can hear? What if the chains holding you back aren't physical, but forged in thought? And what if the only prison you've ever known is the one you've allowed to rule behind your eyes? Let's be honest. Have you ever felt like your greatest enemy isn't outside, but living inside your own head? Like no matter how far you run, your thoughts chase you down, haunting you with echoes of regret, shadows of fears, and silent wars that rage beneath your calmest smile. You walk into a room and laugh with others, but deep within your mind screams louder than the loudest crowd. You close your eyes to sleep, only to relive what you cannot change. You've seen what peace looks like in others, but when it comes to you, it feels like reaching through fog. Let me offer you a bold truth, one that may sting at first, but has the power to set you free. You don't have a broken life. You have an undisciplined mind, and once you master it, everything starts to change. No one ever told you the real war wasn't in your finances, your enemies, or even your past. It's in that quiet, hidden room between your ears, the one no one sees, but everyone feels. Because you can wear a smile that convinces the world, yet fight an invisible war every night. You can appear successful, but still feel like a prisoner. And here's the question you can't afford to ignore. If your mind were a house, who's living there? Is it fear? Your past? Someone who hurt you a decade ago? Is it the voice that says you're not good enough, or the whisper that warns you'll always fail? Someone, or something, is living rent-free in your head, controlling your peace, your focus, your energy, and ultimately your life. And unless you reclaim the keys, you will keep smiling on the outside while suffering in silence. You're not exhausted because of your schedule. You're exhausted because of your thoughts. Your body isn't breaking down. Your thoughts are too heavy to carry anymore. Until you learn to command your mind will command you. There is no prison more suffocating than a mind left unchecked. It will chain you to your past until you forget how to see the future. It will convince you a storm is coming, even when the sky is clear. It will turn peace into paranoia and love into suspicion. The scariest truth about the human mind is this: it believes whatever you feed it, especially if it's repeated. And most people spend more time organizing their closets than organizing their thoughts. They'll scrub their homes for visitors, yet leave their minds cluttered with fear, resentment, imaginary arguments, and shame. Then they wonder why peace feels distant, why sleep is restless, why they sabotage blessings as soon as they arrive. It's not life that's attacking you, it's your thoughts. You weren't born with a broken mind. Somewhere along the way, pain built a throne inside your thoughts, and you bowed to it. Doubt became your compass. Rejection became your identity. But that changes today. Because when you take back control of your mind, you take back control of your world. Just imagine feeling chaos all around you, yet staying calm within. Waking up without dread gripping your chest. Walking into a room without shrinking, without comparing, without carrying the weight of every past mistake. Imagine hearing the voice of fear and finally saying, "You're not welcome here anymore." That's not fantasy, that's the power of a trained mind. Make no mistake, your mind is not your enemy, it's a tool. And like any tool, it can build or destroy. A fire can warm your home or burn it down. A hammer can raise a house or tear it apart. The mind? It can be a sanctuary of peace, or a slaughterhouse of anxiety. And what makes the difference? Who's holding it? Now understand this, mastering your mind doesn't mean pretending pain isn't real. It doesn't mean faking positivity. It means learning to filter. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every memory needs to be relived. Not every fear is worthy of your focus. The first step to transformation is becoming conscious of what you've allowed to grow in the garden of your mind. What thoughts are you watering every day? Some of you are growing jungles of anxiety because you feed your mind with fear from the moment you open your eyes. You scroll through chaos, compare your life to strangers, and call it normal. But that's not normal. That's conditioning. And you don't have to believe every thought you think. Many of your beliefs aren't even yours. They're hand-me-down lies, passed to you from wounded people who didn't see your worth. That parent who shouted out of their own pain. That teacher who judged your future by their fear. That friend who betrayed your trust and planted seeds of doubt. And now those voices still linger. still influence, still sit at the head of the table in the house of your mind. It's time to evict them. Yes, it's hard, because the mind clings to what's familiar, even if it's harmful. Many stay in toxic patterns not because they love the pain, but because it's predictable. Known pain feels safer than unknown peace. But freedom requires courage. It demands that you break the cycle. And here's the truth. No one can do this for you. Not your friend, not your family, not even a therapist. They can guide, they can support. But the war within your mind, that's yours to win. And you can win it. Your mind isn't broken, it's untrained. And anything untrained can be taught. Even the most chaotic thoughts can be restructured with repetition, with focus, with discipline. So how do you begin? You guard the gate. Your mind is a fortress. You are the gatekeeper. Every thought is a visitor knocking at the door. You must ask, who sent you? What do you want? What will you leave behind? If a thought shows up with fear, shame, bitterness, don't let it in. But if it carries peace, clarity, and growth, let it stay. Feed it, water it, let it grow. And be careful what you consume, because just like your body becomes what you eat, your mind becomes what you feed it. If you binge negativity, chaos, and gossip, you are starving your soul while feeding the very voices destroying you. You cannot drink poison and expect to feel peace. You cannot consume fear and hope to grow faith. So you must plant new thoughts on purpose. Speak strength over yourself, even when you don't feel strong. Say it again and again. Even if your emotions don't believe it, your mind will start to. Because repetition reprograms. Even if it sounds strange at first, say it. I am capable. I am calm. I am not my past. I choose peace. I reject fear. And remember, there's no magic switch. This is a process. You'll fall. You'll slip back into old habits. But don't stop. Discipline is louder than doubt. Effort is stronger than fear. And one day, almost without realizing it, you'll wake up and know you are no longer a prisoner in your own mind. You are the master of it. We often hear the phrase, you are what you think. But what if your thoughts were never truly yours to begin with? What if the beliefs that limit you, that paralyze you, that make you question your worth, were simply echoes of someone else's pain? Because the truth is, many of the thoughts you battle daily weren't born from your soul. They were planted there by a wounded parent, a discouraged teacher, a friend who betrayed you, or a culture that never saw your value. And though those voices may have faded in volume, their whispers still linger, still dictate your choices, still sit at the head of the table in the home of your mind, occupying space, influencing decisions, and shaping emotions you don't even understand. But here's the reality. They don't belong there anymore. You must evict them, forcefully, deliberately, without apology. It won't be easy, because the mind clings to the familiar, even if the familiar is slowly destroying you. It's strange how known pain can feel safer than unknown peace. That's why so many people stay in toxic cycles. Not because they love the suffering, but because at least they know what to expect. But true freedom begins with courage, the courage to break the cycle. No one else can do it for you. Not your best friend, not your family, not even the wisest therapist. They can support you, they can cheer for you. But this battle, this is yours to win. And the beautiful truth? You can win. Your mind isn't broken, it's untrained, and anything untrained can be taught. Even the wildest, most scattered thoughts can be reshaped through repetition, focus, and discipline. But where do you begin? You start at the gate. Your mind is a fortress, and you are the gatekeeper. Every thought that comes knocking, fear, shame, resentment, clarity, peace, requires your permission to enter. You must ask, who sent you? Why are you here? What will you leave behind if I let you in? If a thought shows up carrying fear, bitterness, or insecurity, deny it entry. But if it brings growth, peace, or strength, welcome it in. Let it dwell. Let it multiply. But be warned, your mind doesn't just reflect what you think, it reflects what you feed it. Just as your body becomes what you eat, your mind becomes what you consume. If you constantly ingest negativity, gossip, doom-scrolling, comparison, chaos, you are feeding the very thoughts designed to destroy you. You cannot binge fear and expect peace to grow. You cannot drink poison and wonder why you feel sick every day. You must plant different seeds, consciously, repeatedly. Speak life to yourself, even when your feelings scream otherwise. Say it until your soul starts to believe it. I am capable. I am calm. I am not my past. I choose peace. I reject fear. At first, it may feel like a lie, but remember, your mind doesn't recognize truth as much as it recognizes repetition. What it hears most, it believes most. There is no shortcut, no magic switch. This is a process. It takes work. You will fall back into old patterns. You will be tempted to surrender to familiar chaos. But don't quit, because one day, without fanfare or warning, you'll wake up and realize you are no longer a prisoner in your own mind. You are the master of it. And that changes everything. There is unspeakable power in stillness. Learn to sit with yourself. Turn off the noise. Shut down the constant input. Because your mind cannot breathe when it's drowning in stimulation. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers. Solitude is not loneliness. It's alignment. In the stillness, you begin to hear what the noise tried to silence. Truth buried under years of chaos begins to rise. And when the next storm comes, and it will, you won't panic. Because your mind has become a lighthouse, not a sponge. You shine. You do not absorb. You remain. You do not collapse. Imagine walking into rooms where you were once ignored and no longer needing to prove anything. Imagine hearing an insult and knowing it reveals more about the speaker than it ever did about you. Imagine facing a loss without letting it redefine your identity. That's not delusion. That's mental power. The world won't stop throwing distractions, but you get to choose what you catch, what you carry, what you keep. Once you understand that, you reclaim your strength. And when you reclaim your strength, you reclaim your freedom. This life is too precious to live as a slave to thoughts that don't serve you. There is no greater victory than mastering your mind. Because once you do, not even life itself, not failure, not heartbreak, not fear, can shake the inner power you've built. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer. You are the builder. You hold the chisel. Every day, with every thought you accept or reject, you are shaping your inner world. But hear this loud and clear. You cannot heal a mind you keep abandoning. You cannot win a war you refuse to fight. Some people are losing simply because they never stepped onto the battlefield. They're waiting for peace to fall into their laps, unaware that peace is not found. It is forged. It is carved out of intentional thought, courageous discipline, and ruthless honesty. Peace isn't the calm around you. It's the command within you. It starts when you stop reacting to every thought and begin responding with authority. You must become the architect of your mental environment. Do not let your mind become a junkyard full of fear, regret, and painful memories. Start renovating. Tear down the walls of self-doubt. Pull up the floorboards of bitterness. Knock out the windows of comparison. Rebuild brick by brick, thought by thought, day by day. Some of you have been walking around in a storm so long, you've forgotten what peace feels like. You wear anxiety like a badge of honor. You mistake chaos for purpose. But listen closely. You were never meant to live like this. You were not created to be at war with yourself. And let's be clear, controlling your mind doesn't mean you won't struggle. It means you learn to struggle well. You stop letting your emotions drive the car. You feel the fear, but you keep moving. You feel the anger, but you don't act out of it. You feel the sorrow, but you don't drown in it. The mind left unchecked is like a wild horse, dragging you in every direction until you're too exhausted to stand. But the trained mind? It becomes a force of nature. It knows when to charge and when to rest, when to speak and when to stay silent. It becomes a source of clarity in a world addicted to noise. And clarity, my friend, is rare, because clarity requires courage. It requires you to sit in silence and face what you've spent years avoiding. The thoughts that expose your wounds, the patterns that reveal your pain, the inner voice that finally, courageously, begins to heal. We ended the last part with this quiet but powerful truth. Real clarity doesn't come from noise or distraction. It comes from courage. And courage, real courage, is born in the stillness. In those raw moments when you stop running, sit down, and finally face what's been chasing you from within. Because let's be honest, healing doesn't happen in hiding. It begins when you look your pain in the eye, when you stop covering your wounds with busyness, when you stop sidestepping the thoughts that make your soul flinch. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's messy. But growth never begins in comfort. It's always birthed in discomfort. So now, let's go even deeper. Those lingering thoughts you've been avoiding, they're not random. They're echoes. Echoes of old wounds, silent shame, forgotten betrayals, and broken moments buried beneath years of distraction and noise. They're not powerful because they're true. They're powerful because they've gone unchallenged. You've let them live in your mind, rent-free, without ever questioning their right to be there. But here's the shift. Healing doesn't come by pretending. It comes through confrontation. Not loud, aggressive confrontation, but honest, gentle, intentional. The kind where you ask your thoughts, why are you here, and do you still serve me? Until you confront what's been hidden, you'll stay in silent battles with yourself. You'll find yourself repeating patterns you swore you'd broken, falling into emotional loops you thought you outgrew, and you'll blame it on fate. But it's not fate, it's familiarity. And just because something feels familiar doesn't make it safe. Pain that you've grown used to can still poison you. And that's why it takes courage to say, I'm done. I refuse to live in this loop again. It's brave to break the cycle. It's brave to sit still, breathe deep, and speak back to your mind. Enough, we're not circling the same mountain anymore. And the truth is, no one else can fight this war for you. Not your partner, not your family, not your pastor, not your favorite speaker. They can guide you, they can point the way. But they can't step into your mental battlefield and defeat the voices that haunt you. That's your mission. That's your inner assignment. But hear this. Don't be discouraged. Even the most chaotic mind can be retrained, with patience, with repetition, with grace. Imagine your thoughts like wild, untamed horses. If you don't harness them, they'll run wild, dragging you into darkness. But if you train them, guide them, teach them where to go, they'll lead you to peace, clarity, and freedom. So how do you begin? You start by becoming the gatekeeper of your mind. Picture your mind as a sacred fortress. Every thought that knocks, every fear, every idea, every memory is a visitor. You don't have to let them all in. Ask each one, who sent you? Why are you here? And what will I become if I let you stay? If it shows up with fear, shame, bitterness, close the door. If it carries peace, truth, healing, invite it in. Just like you wouldn't let a thief live in your home, don't let destructive thoughts occupy your mind. And beyond guarding the gates, be mindful of what you feed your thoughts with. Because your mind becomes what you consume. Just like your body reflects what you eat, your inner world reflects what you absorb. If all you take in is chaos, gossip, comparison, and fear, what do you expect to grow? You can't binge anxiety and expect peace to flourish. You can't scroll through poison and wonder why you're emotionally sick. So feed your thoughts on purpose. Even when it feels unnatural, speak life. Even when it sounds fake, declare strength. Why? Because your brain doesn't always distinguish between truth and repetition. It believes what it hears the most. So let your declarations become louder than your doubts. Say it over and over until it becomes your truth. I am not my past. I choose peace. I am no longer a prisoner. I am powerful. I will rise. This isn't magic. It's a process. There will be days you stumble. Moments you want to go back to what feels familiar. But every time you choose discipline over comfort, you rewire your mind for strength. Eventually, consistency will silence fear. Discipline will outlast doubt. And one morning, you'll wake up and realize you're not just existing anymore. You are living with quiet, unshakable strength. Not because the world around you calmed down, but because the war inside your mind finally did. And that inner shift? That is the foundation for everything. But what if the world outside never quiets? What if the storm keeps raging? Let's talk about that next, and learn how to stay grounded even when everything around you is spinning. Previously, we explored the power of rewiring your thoughts and standing in mental discipline. But now, it's time to step into the next level, reclaiming your power, not with noise, but with fierce, quiet authority. This is not about shouting louder than your fears. It's not about proving people wrong. It's about something deeper, something unshakable. It's about reclaiming your inner world with calm certainty, with deliberate thought, with clarity that doesn't beg for validation. You don't react anymore, you respond. You don't become the thermometer adjusting to the world's chaos. You become the thermostat, you set the tone. You walk into tension and bring peace. You face a storm and hold stillness. You meet fear face to face and choose to walk forward anyway. And here's the miracle. The more you choose peace over panic, clarity over confusion, order over chaos, the more natural it becomes. The weeds in your mind, they begin to die off. The noise, it starts to lose power. And in its place grows something steady, something rooted, something unbreakable. That's the other side of mental mastery. So keep going, keep choosing better thoughts, keep building the inner foundation. The victory you've been searching for doesn't live outside of you. It has been quietly waiting inside you all along. Now here's something hard, but holy. You are not a victim of your thoughts unless you allow yourself to be. Your mind wasn't born in chaos. It was shaped that way by pain you never deserved, by words that sliced, by moments that shattered trust, by people who should have protected you but didn't. But now, the power has shifted. It's in your hands. You can reshape what life tried to destroy. You can rebuild the peace that trauma tried to steal. How? One thought, one truth, one brave decision at a time. But hear me, this process requires raw honesty. You cannot heal what you constantly excuse. You cannot fix what you keep justifying. You must look in the mirror and say, these thoughts are not helping me. This self-talk is sabotaging me. This inner dialogue is choking the future God placed inside me. And no, this isn't easy. But anything sacred rarely is. When you begin to reclaim your mind, don't expect comfort, expect resistance. Your old habits will scream. Your fears will beg you to stay. Your comfort zones will cry out, why are you changing? We kept you safe. But that's a lie. They didn't keep you safe. They kept you small. They didn't protect you. They caged you. They kept you circling the same mountain and calling it growth. But you weren't created to shrink. You were born to take territory, inside first, then outside. Because the real war, it starts in the mind. This is where destinies are either birthed or buried. And while some people think they're cursed, what's really cursed is their inner narrative. They walk around asking, why is everything against me? When the real enemy is the toxic self-talk looping on repeat. You will never rise higher than the voice inside your head. If you keep telling yourself, I can't, don't be shocked when you don't. If your internal story says, I always fail, your life will prove you right. So stop negotiating with your own destruction. Stop making room for thoughts that make you feel late, less than, or unworthy. Those are not your thoughts. They are intruders. Evict them. Refuse to let them sit at the table of your future. This is sacred ground. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Every single thought you think is a vote for the version of yourself you're becoming. So if you constantly cast votes for fear, you will live in anxiety. If you vote for bitterness, you will reap resentment. But if you vote for strength, peace, resilience, you will begin to rise. This isn't about blind optimism. This is about truth, the kind that cuts through the fog and brings clarity. You don't escape reality by controlling your mind. You master it, you dominate it, you face it head on. You don't run from weakness, you train it. You don't bury your past, you redeem it. You don't suppress emotion, you discipline it. Because real power, it doesn't scream to be seen. It doesn't demand attention. It stands quietly, unshaken, when storms rise. And where does that kind of power begin? Right here, in the garden of your mind. Your thoughts are the seeds, your focus is the water. Whatever you nourish will grow. Feed your mind with fear, you'll reap anxiety. Feed it with bitterness, you'll grow resentment. Feed it with resilience, you'll find breakthrough. Feed it with gratitude, you'll find peace. Feed it with discipline, you'll walk in freedom. Some of you are still haunted by echoes, old voices that said you weren't enough, that you'd never be loved, that you didn't matter. Those voices might be gone, but their words still echo. That's how deep the mind runs. But just because those thoughts visit, doesn't mean they get to stay. You can hear the echo and still say, not today, not anymore. This mind is under new management. You must become fierce in protecting your mental space. You wouldn't let a stranger destroy your home. So why let poisonous thoughts do it from the inside? Every time you accept a thought that belittles you, you weaken your foundation. But every time you choose truth, power, alignment, you are building something unshakable. And though your circumstances may not shift overnight, though your emotions may not always follow immediately, your mind can still change, and when the mind changes, everything else follows. That's the secret no one talks about. It's not the storm that breaks you. It's the story you tell yourself in the middle of it. Two people can face the same hardship. One rises, the other crumbles. Why? Because of the interpretation. the inner narrative. So pause for a moment. What story are you telling yourself right now? Is it "this is too much" or "this is building me"? Is it "I'm done" or "I was made for this"? Shift the story and you shift the storm. But be patient. Transformation is not instant. It's not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice of choosing higher thoughts, rejecting lesser lies, and breathing life into the quiet, broken places of your soul. And when you fall, because you will, don't wear the failure as identity. Rise, reset, rebuild. That's what the unshakable do. The fire in your life, it's not here to consume you, it's here to refine you. The pressure, it's not crushing you, it's calling out the strength that's been buried under fear, doubt, and conformity. That strength, it rises when your thoughts bow to a higher standard. So fight for your mind, like it's the last sacred place on earth, because your future, it depends on it. But what if the next challenge comes harder than the last? Let's prepare for that in the next part. Previously, we spoke about guarding your thoughts like sacred ground. Now let's go even deeper, because the battle for your future isn't just about rejecting lies. It's about consistently choosing truth, one disciplined moment at a time. Breakthrough doesn't require more talent. It demands clarity, not perfection, but consistency, one thought at a time. One small shift, one powerful decision repeated again and again. Train your mind relentlessly. Train it to view pressure not as punishment but as preparation, to see every obstacle not as a wall but as a doorway, to view resistance not as a stop sign but as a signal. Growth is near. You are more powerful than you know. But here's the catch. Until your thoughts reflect that truth, you'll never walk in it. So stop waiting for the world to give you permission to be strong. Stop looking for the perfect moment to change. Think strong now. Speak strong now. Live strong now. Let your thoughts rise to meet the greatness that has always lived inside you. And I say this with urgency, because far too many people never lose the battle due to weakness, but because they weren't even present. They were absent from their own minds, detached from their thoughts, on autopilot in the war between truth and deception, drifting while lies took root. Your life will never rise above the level of your awareness. That's why transformation starts with one thing: raw, radical honesty. There comes a moment when you have to say enough, not because you know everything, but because you've had enough of dragging yourself through cycles of comparison, self-doubt, and bitterness. The longer you let these thoughts run wild, the more they become something dangerous, a structure, a belief system, a false reality. And once a thought becomes a belief, it begins to shape your relationships, your decisions, your future. But listen carefully. You were not made to live trapped in invisible chains. You were not designed to be ruled by fear or shame. You were made to rise again and again. Every morning you must rise and remind your mind who is in charge. Not weakness, not emotion, authority. This is the direction I'm heading. This is what I will focus on. This is the atmosphere I will carry. Because thoughts, if left undirected, become wild horses. And wild horses, when untrained, will drag you into destruction. But here's a truth few want to admit. What you feed your mind in private will eventually be exposed in public. You can't fake mental freedom. You can't pretend to have peace when your soul is in pieces. You might fool others, but you'll never fool yourself. And that deep, gnawing unrest? That's your mind crying out for clarity, crying out for order, for peace, for restoration. And the only answer is this: mental discipline. Relentless, consistent, unshakable discipline. Because the person you're becoming, they're hiding in the thoughts you're currently tolerating. If you want to shift your identity, shift your thoughts. If you want to change your life, confront your patterns. Don't wait for a breakdown to wake up. Don't wait for a crisis to finally care. The moment to reclaim your mind is now. Not when you feel better, not when it's easier. You act now, before you feel ready. Because the feelings you crave, they're waiting on the other side of your obedience. People ask, why is it so hard to control my mind? Because you've unknowingly trained it to react, not reflect, to focus on what's broken instead of what's possible. But just as the mind was trained into fear, it can be trained into strength. You can teach your mind to rest, even when everything feels uncertain. You can teach it to focus, even when distraction screams. You can teach it to believe, even when doubt demands attention. But only if you stop treating your mind like a runaway machine and start treating it like what it truly is, a sacred tool. Stop saying, "That's just how I think." No, it's how you've allowed yourself to think. But today, everything can change. Because you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker, the observer, the chooser. You hold the pen. And when the storm of negativity rises again, you'll have two choices: drown in it or rise above it. And that choice, it's made with every thought, every decision, every moment of mental awareness. So don't underestimate the power of small shifts. One strong thought can reroute 1,000 weak ones. One moment of clarity can break years of confusion. You don't need a perfect mind, you need a directed mind. One that is focused, grounded, rooted in peace and aligned with purpose. And when doubt knocks like a familiar guest, don't answer. When your own inner voice whispers, "You're not enough," silence it. Not with more noise, but with truth. You've come too far to go back. You've endured too much to live small again. You've tasted growth. You can't go back to chains. So train your mind to respond, not react. Because reactions are impulsive. But responses, they're intentional. And intentional thinking is the line between average and unstoppable, between surviving and soaring. You can't live in freedom while your mind is enslaved. Break the cycle. And when it tries to rebuild itself tomorrow, break it again. Because your mind was never designed to be a war zone forever. It was meant to become a sanctuary, a place of peace, of vision, of strength. But sanctuaries aren't automatic. They're forged with sweat, with scars, with silent victories no one else sees. They stand not because storms never came, but because someone stayed and built stronger walls. So choose your thoughts like a warrior selects a weapon, with clarity, with fire, with conviction. Your mind isn't just where you think. It's where you live. If you don't own that space, something else will, and what owns your mind will shape your life. So speak life over yourself. Speak peace, speak focus, not occasionally but constantly, daily, hourly if needed. You'll feel foolish at first, you'll feel like it's not working, but keep going, because mental freedom, it's not a one-time decision, it's a lifestyle. And those who master it, they're not ruled by the world, they rule it from the inside out. Because your mind is where destiny is either built or buried, not in the noise, but in the silence. The silence where the arguments start, the silence where the ghosts of your past knock, the silence where insecurity screams to be heard. And right there, in that sacred private space, you must rise. You must speak. You must reclaim the power you forgot you had. Because if you don't confront the noise in the quiet, it will confront you in the storm. And storms don't wait for your permission. They come, fast, loud, unforgiving. So now the question is, are you ready to take back what fear has stolen? Let's step into that next. As we continue, remember this truth. Your mind was never meant to be a battlefield forever. It was designed to become a sanctuary. But sanctuaries are not handed to you. They are built through intentional thought, through painful honesty, and through victories that happen in silence when no one is watching. They are forged in pain, not comfort. Constructed not with ease, but with sweat, sacrifice, and resolve. They stand strong not because storms don't come, but because you chose not to run. You stayed. You built. You endured. So now choose your thoughts like a seasoned warrior chooses their weapon, with precision, with fire, with full awareness that your mind is not just where thoughts are born, it's where you live. And if you don't take ownership of that space, something else will. And what owns your mind eventually owns your life. Speak life over yourself. Speak discipline. Speak peace. Speak focus. Not once, not when it's convenient, but daily, hourly, if needed. Yes, you may feel foolish. Yes, some days it might seem like nothing is changing, but keep going. Because mental freedom is not a one-time event, it is a lifestyle. And those who master it, they are not ruled by the chaos around them. They rule from the inside out. Your mind is the battleground where destiny is either built or buried, not out there in the noise, but right here, in the silence. The silence where the arguments begin, the silence where the echoes of your past come knocking, the silence where every insecurity raises its voice, demanding to be heard. And it's in that sacred silence where you must rise. You must speak. You must reclaim the authority you forgot you had. Because if you don't confront the noise when it's quiet, it will confront you when the storm hits. And storms never ask for permission. The most dangerous thing you could ever do is leave your mind unchecked. That's how anxiety becomes your identity. That's how unhealed pain becomes your permanent lens. That's how defeat becomes your default reaction. But you were not created to crumble under pressure. You were made to resist, to rise, to reclaim every inch of your thought life that has been stolen by fear, shame, rejection, addiction, or regret. Do you know how a person breaks mentally? It doesn't happen all at once. It happens gradually, one thought at a time, one compromise, one bitter memory replayed too many times, one excuse, one unresolved emotion left to fester. That's how strong people be silent sufferers. That's how brilliant minds lose clarity. That's how hope dies, not with a crash, but in slow, quiet motion. And yet, the same way your mind was broken, it can be rebuilt. Not overnight, but brick by brick, thought by thought, decision by decision. You can reconstruct a new internal world, one rooted in clarity instead of confusion, one built on purpose, not panic, strength, not scarcity. This isn't about empty, positive thinking. This is about powerful thinking. It's about taking back the narrative that plays in your head when no one else is listening. It's about refusing to be bullied by your own memories. It's about refusing to be manipulated by your own triggers. It's about not letting the world dictate the worth of what's already been planted inside you. Because here's the truth. You were born with the ability to choose what you focus on. And what you focus on becomes what you feel. What you feel becomes what you believe. And what you believe becomes the life you live. So if you want to change your life, start with this. Change your inner vocabulary. Listen to how you speak to yourself in the quiet. Is it compassion or criticism? Is it faith or fear? Is it conviction or compromise? Because the whispers you say in private matter more than 1,000 shouts of praise or blame from the crowd. That's where character is shaped. That's where internal power is born, not in noise but in stillness. See every thought as a seed. Some will grow peace, some will grow poison, some will blossom into trees of discipline, confidence, and clarity. Others will sink roots into resentment, anxiety, and delay. You decide what grows. The mind is fertile. It doesn't judge what you plant, it just grows what you feed. So protect that soil. Guard your atmosphere. Speak to yourself with the same fire you would use to save someone else, because someone is depending on you. You're depending on you. And if you've been living in mental torment, if you've been drowning in fear, confusion, or overthinking, let me tell you this. You are not broken. You are not too far gone. Your mind is not your enemy, it is your territory, and anything that has entered it without your permission must go. The pain, the labels, the shame-filled memories, they were never meant to define you. Your mind can be renewed, it can be rewired, it can be restored, but only if you choose it, daily, deliberately, relentlessly. Discipline isn't just a practice, it's a revolutionary act. Because when you choose your thoughts on purpose, you are rebelling against a world that wants you passive, numb, reactive. But you weren't made to just mentally survive. You were made for mental dominion. You were made to command your inner world with the strength of someone who has walked through fire and come out refined, clearer, stronger, wiser. Because clarity is power, and the clearer your mind becomes, the more powerful your decisions will be. And here's the most encouraging truth of all. You don't need a perfect life to have a powerful mind. You just need consistency. Every morning, look yourself in the mirror. Remind your mind who's in charge. It's not running the show, you are. Every night, when old thoughts try to sneak in, speak this out loud, not today, not anymore. You need that hour of stillness. You need that moment to breathe, to reflect, to reset the rhythm of your soul. Because no one can fight for your peace like you can. No one can win this war on your behalf. It's your ground. It's your battle, and it will be your victory. You're not a prisoner to what you feel. You're not doomed by what you've been through. You are not confined by what you think, unless you choose to be. Now let's continue into the final stretch, where we take all this inner strength and put it into action. Shall I move on to the final rewritten section? And now we enter the stillness, the sacred moment where clarity begins to rise. You need that hour. That pause, that intentional reset, where you breathe deeply, where you listen, not to the noise of the world, but to the rhythm of your own soul. Because no one will ever fight for your peace like you can. No one else can win that war for you. It's your ground, it's your battlefield, and ultimately, your victory. You are not the chaos you feel. You are not the storm that surrounds you. You are not the pain you've been through or the prison of your own thoughts. You are not the trauma that touched you. You are not the label the world carelessly stamped on you. You are not the mistake you made in a moment of weakness. You are so much more. You are the one who gets to decide. You are the voice of reason, the gatekeeper of your mind, the final authority that determines what stays and what gets cast out. And that voice, your voice, must rise. It must become louder than the whispers of fear, stronger than the shadow of doubt, more confident than the critic that lives in your head, rent-free. So, right here, right now, I challenge you. Take back your mental throne. Stop waiting for peace to arrive like a guest at the door. Build it, forge it, create it, one disciplined, courageous thought at a time. Stop begging the world for confidence. Build it with consistency. Stop wishing for clarity. Craft it through focused, committed decisions. The key to your mental freedom has always been in your hands, but now is the time to use it. Not someday, not when life calms down. Now. The door to transformation doesn't open through emotion. It swings open when commitment shows up. And when you commit, truly commit to mental mastery, everything changes. Not because the world became easier, but because you became different. When you take back control of your mind, everything else loses its control over you. You stop being reactive and start becoming responsive. You stop surviving and start reigning. Because your mind is not just a battlefield, it is a kingdom. And once you grasp that truth, you stop living like a victim. You stop bowing to every passing emotion. You stop treating every negative thought as if it deserves to stay. You stop handing over your peace to people who never paid the price to earn it. You stop looking for the world's permission to be strong. You stop waiting for applause to believe in your value. You finally realize this. You were born to rule your inner world. With clarity, with courage, with conviction. Because when your mind is clear, your steps become precise. When your mind is strong, your boundaries become immovable. When your mind is disciplined, your soul becomes unshakable. You don't chase focus, you embody it. You don't collapse under pressure, you rise through it. You don't fear solitude, you thrive in it. Why? Because your mind no longer terrifies you. It has become your ally, not your enemy. Your servant, not your master. But don't expect the world to cheer for this. The world doesn't want you free. It wants you distracted, it wants you reactive, it wants you addicted to scrolling, numbing and comparing, because the moment your mind becomes truly free, you become untouchable. Not arrogant, not unfeeling, but anchored. And when storms come, and they will, you won't be shaken. You'll discover how deep your roots truly go. Some of you have lived too long in that storm, too long in confusion, too long dancing on the edge of emotional cliffs, too long letting fear be the loudest voice in your head. But today, right now, a line is being drawn. No more hiding, no more rehearsing your pain, no more shrinking under the weight of old wounds. Today you rise. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. And to the one who's been trying to heal in silence, let this truth reach you. You don't have to do this alone. You are not the only one fighting invisible battles. But you must take the first step. You must decide. Enough is enough. And then, you start laying those mental bricks, one at a time, with discipline, with awareness, with truth. Because peace does not visit the passive, it lives with the prepared. And clarity does not come to the wishful, it comes to the warrior. If you could see what's waiting on the other side of your discipline, if you truly knew the doors your new mindset would unlock, you'd never waste another moment on a lie. You'd never again tolerate a thought that didn't serve your destiny. So let this be your reminder. You're not just reclaiming thoughts, you're reclaiming territory. And what you build within will shape everything that follows. This is the shift. The moment where passivity dies and mental authority rises. You stop letting your peace slip through your fingers, hand it out to people who never valued it. You stop waiting for applause, validation, or recognition from a world that never truly saw your worth. Because deep down, you've always known, you were born to lead from within. Born to rule your inner world with clarity, with courage, with conviction. When your mind is clear, your steps are sharp. When your mind is strong, your boundaries are immovable. When your mind is disciplined, your soul becomes unshakable. You don't chase focus, you embody it. You don't shrink under pressure, you rise through it. You don't fear being alone, you thrive in solitude, because your own mind no longer feels like a threat. But don't expect the world to reward you for this. The world wants you to be distracted, not disciplined. It thrives when you are reactive, not reflective. It benefits when your thoughts are bound by noise, comparison, and cheap stimulation. Because the moment your mind becomes truly free, you become untouchable, not in arrogance, not in numbness, but in stability, anchored. And storms, they don't drown you. They reveal just how deep your roots actually go. Some of you have lived too long in the middle of mental chaos, too long on the edge of emotional cliffs, too long letting fear yell louder than purpose. But today, right here, a line is drawn in the sand. No more hiding, no more repeating old pain like a playlist on loop. No more letting the weight of unhealed wounds break your back and blur your vision. Today you rise, not because the storm passed, but because you've finally realized how to stand inside it. And to the one healing quietly, battling battles no one sees. Hear this, you're not alone. You never were. But the first step, it must be yours. The step where you say, I've had enough. The step where you start building with bricks of intention, discipline, and awareness. Because peace doesn't visit the passive. It inhabits the prepared. Clarity doesn't come to the wishful. It belongs to the warrior. If you could glimpse what's waiting on the other side of your discipline, if you could feel the strength of a fully awakened, focused mind, you'd never entertain another lie. You'd never again bow to the whispers of mediocrity. This isn't about just feeling better. It's about thinking on purpose, so you can live on purpose. Let your vision be louder than your excuses. Let your standard rise above your moods. Let your purpose outshout your pain. Because when your mind aligns with your calling, the world around you adjusts. You stop chasing validation because you carry self-respect. You stop waiting for peace because you create it. You stop fearing the unknown because you walk into it with fire in your eyes. Yes, there will be resistance, but resistance is not the enemy. It is the gift. It builds you. It proves your desire to grow. It tests how deeply you want change. Every time an old thought surfaces, that's your cue. Your moment to step into authority. Every whisper of fear is a doorway to respond with strength. Every knock of doubt is your moment to say, I don't live there anymore. You must become fierce about your focus. Protect your mental sanctuary like it's your most sacred treasure, because it is. Your mind is not just a tool, it's a battleground, a throne, a kingdom, and whoever controls it controls the course of your entire life. So reclaim it. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your peace. Reclaim the authority over your inner world. No more being tossed by emotion. No more reacting from pain. No more surrendering your future to thoughts that never served you. You don't need more motivation. You need mastery. Train your mind the way an athlete trains their body. Coach your inner voice like a champion sharpens their instincts. Discipline your attention like a general commands their army. Because every thought is a direction, forward or backward. And the stakes? They are too high to let that direction be accidental. Every transformation, every single one, begins in the mind long before it appears in your life. So guard it, train it, speak to it, honor it, because once your mind is aligned with your divine purpose, nothing can stop you. No obstacle, no voice, no fear. You become a force, you become focused, you become free. And now, we stand at the final gate. This is where hope becomes action, where transformation is no longer a soft idea, but a roaring command inside your soul. This is the sacred edge, the place where you decide who you'll be from this moment forward. The battle is no longer out there. It's not in the courtroom, not in the hospital, not in the face of your enemies. The greatest battle of your life is in your own mind, in the quiet midnight hours, when the voices get loud, when the silence becomes heavy. When the world is asleep and you are wide awake with doubt, fear, and questions. That's where your victory is forged, not in the noise, but in the decision. And you are standing in that decision right now. You can't afford to keep being casual with your thoughts. You can't keep worshipping pain like it's sacred. You can't build your life around fear and call it being careful. It's time to purge the poison, time to silence the noise. Time to rip out every root of insecurity that's been allowed to grow unchecked. Choose to elevate, choose to rise, choose to walk into every day like your mind is sacred ground and no lie has permission to live there anymore. Because when you master your mind, you master your days, and when you master your days, you rewrite your destiny. This isn't hype, it's not fantasy, it's ancient truth. As the mind goes, so goes the life. And that's why. You see, every time you walk forward with boldness, you will face resistance. But don't mistake resistance for a warning, it's a gift. Resistance is what builds strength. It shows you how deeply you desire real change. When those old thoughts rise from the dark corners of your mind, see them as signals. Not to fear, but to respond. Respond with power, with clarity, with a voice that says, I don't live there anymore. You must become ruthless about your focus, fearless and sharp. Guard your mental sanctuary like a soldier guarding the gates of a kingdom. Why? Because your mind is your most sacred battlefield, and whoever commands it, commands your entire future. So reclaim it. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your inner peace. Reclaim your mental throne. No more letting memories hijack your energy. No more reacting to every emotion. No more giving away your destiny to thoughts that never had your best in mind. You don't need another motivational speech. What you need is mastery. Mastery over your thought life. Train your mind with the same fire you'd use to train your body. Speak to your inner world like an elite coach speaks to a champion. Discipline your attention like a general preparing soldiers for battle. Because every thought is taking you somewhere. It's either carrying you forward or pulling you back. And the price of letting that direction go unnoticed is far too high. Transformation? It doesn't start when others notice. It starts long before that. In your private thoughts, your silent choices. So guard those thoughts, shape them, challenge them, respect them. When your mind aligns with your higher purpose, nothing can derail you. No voice can shake you. No fear can trap you. You become steady, you become focused, you become truly free. And now, we reach the final threshold, the sacred edge where all this reflection must turn into action. This is where the transformation stops whispering and starts roaring. Where your mind, the core engine of your life, stops waiting for permission and starts moving in full command. No more delay, no more confusion, no more calling chaos normal, because the greatest battle you will ever face is not in a courtroom, a diagnosis, or a relationship. The real war takes place in the stillness of your own mind. In those late hours, when no one is watching, when the noise fades and your inner voices get loud, that's where your victory is formed. Not in loud moments, but in private decisions. And right now, this is one of those decisions. You cannot afford to treat your thoughts lightly anymore. You cannot keep nursing old pain like it deserves a place in your future. You cannot build your life around fear and call it wisdom. It's time to purge the mental poison. It's time to hush the noise. It's time to uproot every toxic thought that's grown silently for years. Because once you make that choice to rise, to truly rise, you'll walk through every day treating your mind like sacred ground. And in that ground, no lie has permission to take root, because the one who masters their thoughts masters their time, and the one who masters their time reshapes their destiny. This isn't just theory, it's timeless truth. As your mind goes, your life follows. That's why a distracted mind leads to a defeated life. But a focused, trained and disciplined mind, that is the path to a life fulfilled. And just ahead, we enter the final shift, where decision becomes lifestyle and clarity becomes power. Let's step into that now. Walk into it, whatever it is, with boldness in your spirit. And yes, resistance will meet you there, but don't run from it, because resistance isn't your enemy, it's your training ground. Resistance builds your resilience, it reveals just how deeply you want change. Every time an old thought creeps back in, that's your cue to rise and reclaim your authority. When fear whispers in the quiet, speak back with steady resolve. And when doubt knocks again on familiar doors, declare with certainty, I don't live there anymore. You have to become absolutely relentless about your focus. Fierce, protective. You must guard your mental sanctuary as if it were your most prized possession, because it is. Your mind is sacred battlefield soil, and whoever owns that soil owns your future. So reclaim what's yours. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your stillness. Reclaim the throne of your inner world. No more letting old memories hijack your peace. No more living at the mercy of passing emotions. No more surrendering your future to thoughts that never served your purpose. You don't need another burst of motivation. You need mastery. Mental mastery. You must train your thoughts with the same level of discipline and fire you'd use to train your body. Speak to yourself like a coach talks to a champion. Be as sharp with your mind as a world-class athlete is with their instincts, and discipline your attention. Tight, precise, like a commander preparing soldiers for war. Because here's the truth. Every thought is taking you somewhere. It's either leading you forward into growth or dragging you backward into patterns. And the cost of drifting? It's too high. Every transformation you dream of, it starts in your mind long before it ever shows up in your life. So protect that space, train it, talk to it, cleanse it, honor it like your life depends on it, because it does. Because when your mind aligns with your deepest purpose, no obstacle can stop you. No voice can drown you. No fear can bind you. You don't just gain focus, you become it. You don't just survive pressure, you rise through it. You don't fear solitude, you thrive in it. Why? Because your mind is no longer your master. It's your servant. But don't expect the world to clap for this, it won't. The world wants your mind distracted, reactive, consumed by noise, addicted to comparison and comfort. Because the moment your mind becomes truly free, you become untouchable. Not arrogant, not numb, but anchored. And storms don't drown the anchored, they reveal how deep your roots go. Many of you have lived too long in mental chaos. You've spent too many nights pacing emotional cliffs. You've allowed fear to scream the loudest in your head. But today a line is being drawn in the sand. Today your inner thermostat resets. Today you rise, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. And if you've been trying to heal in isolation, let this be a gentle reminder. You don't have to fight this alone. You're not the only one facing silent wars. But you must take the first step. Build your mental fortress, brick by intentional brick. Discipline, awareness, courage. Because peace doesn't come to the passive. It inhabits those who are prepared. And clarity doesn't appear till it arrives for the warrior. If you knew what waited for you on the other side of discipline, you'd never waste another thought. If you could feel the strength of a fully awakened mind, you'd never again bow to the whispers of mediocrity. This isn't about just feeling better. It's about thinking intentionally, so you can live purposefully. Let your vision be stronger than your excuses. Let your standards stand taller than your moods. Let your purpose thunder louder than your pain. Because once your mind is in alignment with your calling, everything around you begins to change. You don't chase validation, you carry self-respect. You don't wait for peace, you generate it. You don't fear the unknown, you walk boldly into it. And yes, resistance will show up again. But now you'll see it for what it is, a gift. Resistance builds your resilience. It reveals how badly you're willing to grow. Each time an old lie rises up, you'll silence it with your truth. Each time fear returns, you'll meet it with fire. Each time doubt revisits, you'll respond, I no longer live there. You must become ferocious about guarding your mind. Protect it like treasure, because it is. Your mind is sacred ground, and whoever rules it shapes your future. So take it back. Take back your peace. Take back your voice. Take back the throne. No more living at the mercy of memory. No more being ruled by reactions. No more building your destiny on thoughts that were never worthy of your soul. You don't need more hype. You need mastery. Discipline your thoughts like an athlete sharpens instinct. Coach your inner voice like it's your most trusted soldier. Direct your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Because when your thoughts align with purpose, no fear can trap you, no voice can shake you, no storm can drown you. You become a force, you become focused, you become free. And just ahead, we move into the final revelation, where clarity roars and transformation no longer knocks. It enters, ready to step into that next threshold.